Hello, I'm Meera Vaidyanathan, and I'm here today to tell you about a new product that we've launched at AWS called Amazon Honeycode. Now, every team, department, and business has its own unique business processes for things like expense tracking, managing marketing campaigns, or even just project and task tracking. What's interesting here is that all these processes have a few things in common. They all track data over time, manage workflows that involve several people, and need reminders and notifications. Often, we do these things using email, calendar reminders, and spreadsheets. Now, if you're managing a project with a few people, a spreadsheet works. You're managing status, maybe due dates, and owners. As soon as your project involves several people, you're emailing spreadsheets around, people are sending revised versions back to you, and it usually falls to one person to update the data. And it's not just keeping statuses up to date, but it's also making sure that people didn't change other data that then needs to be maintained accurately. The result is a lot of frustration and missed deadlines. Now, some of our customers tell us that they use a set of specialized tools for tracking business processes. And others tell us that they build custom applications for these processes. But both of these are very costly and often not feasible. Now, imagine if you could build a custom app tailored to your unique needs without waiting for IT or learning how to code. I'm excited to share Amazon Honeycode, which we launched earlier this year in beta. With Honeycode, you can build and use mobile or web apps without writing a single line of code. You don't have to rely on developers or on IT to build custom apps for your business. Instead, any business user, project manager, product manager, a finance person, marketing person, really anyone can use Honeycode's visual app builder to create custom apps that can be deployed to mobile devices, both iOS and Android, or web browsers. Honeycode is a fully managed service, so you don't have to worry about software choices, database choices, servers, or deployments. We manage it all for you. Under the covers, what we're doing is automating the process of building the functional layers that are part of any business app: the database, the business logic, and the user interface. And Honeycode leverages the full power and scale of AWS. Each workbook, which contains your apps, your data, and your automations, can hold up to 100,000 rows of data. And when your business needs evolve, which they invariably do, you can change the app just as easily as you built it, and the updates are rolled out immediately to your team. Now, what this does is that it helps your team manage its processes effectively and collaboratively. And tools don't lag business processes. In fact, with Honeycode, it could even encourage experimentation. First, Honeycode apps help your team stay in the loop. They share real-time data instantly with everyone on the team. And the apps can be personalized to each member of your team. What this means is that with one simple click, you can control what each person sees in their app, ensuring that they're only looking at data that's relevant to what they need to do. And as I said earlier, our apps are available on web and mobile, so your team can be effective on the go, anywhere. And lastly, Honeycode apps help you automate manual steps, whether they're automatic reminders or notifications, saving valuable time, ensuring deadlines aren't missed, and saving endless post-it notes. Since launch, We've seen our customers build so many different types of apps with Honeycode. We've seen mask inventory trackers. We've seen a COVID tracking app for a school in New Hampshire, contracts management for unemployment, project management apps. The list is endless. And what we've learned from all of these users is that they just love having the power to create custom apps that are tailored to their needs, and how versatile these apps are because they evolve with the business process. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Honeycode and how it works. In just 4 simple steps, you can go from an idea to a working app, and your team can use this app immediately. And depending on the complexity, this duration can be anything from a few minutes to a few hours. First, set up your business data in tables. Now, you can import data from a CSV. You can create the data right in Honeycode. And we recently launched a few integrations that I'm excited to tell you about. We launched an integration with Amazon AppFlow and with Zapier. With either of these services, you can connect to Amazon databases or over 2,000 SaaS services, and you can bring in data and push data out programmatically. Now, our tables work like spreadsheets, but they have database-like capabilities, right? When you sign up for Honeycode, I encourage you to check out our rollings feature just to show you the power of the database inside a spreadsheet. Now, you can also easily sort, filter, and link data together to create custom dashboards that update in real time as your teams are using the apps. Next, use the app builder to create the screens and the layouts for your apps and to link the data from your tables to your apps. We've launched several new features to make your apps look delightful. Third, add personalization and automations to your app. The personalization feature, as I mentioned earlier, ensures that your team is only looking at the data that's relevant to them. And the automations feature lets you set up actions that run automatically when certain conditions are met. For example, let's say a status changes from yellow to red. You want to immediately fire off a notification to the project owner to let them know that the project is at risk. Similarly, you can fire automations off based on app actions, click of a button. Finally, share the app with your team. And we've made it easy for you to set up your teams and accounts and manage access with single sign-on support through G Suite, Okta, Active Directory, and several other sources. Honeycode is really easy to get started with, and we have more than a dozen templates for you to use. Secondly, we have an active builder of a community of builders, and we encourage you to join this community to see how everybody is using Honeycode. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Gavin G, who's going to take you through a detailed demo of Honeycode. Over to you, Gavin.
Thanks, Mira. Hi, my name is Gavin G, and I'm going to give you a little demo of Amazon Honeycode today. I'm going to show you some of the capabilities in the product and some of the new stuff that we've announced here at reInvent this year. First of all, I'm going to give you a quick tour of what Honeycode is. Let's jump right in. So when you first log into Honeycode, you experience the home drive. This is the home drive that I'm part of here. And Honeycode is made up of really 5 core concepts that are built around this experience. One, we have the concept of teams. This is all the people you work with and collaborate with in your team. And inside of a team, you can have workbooks. And workbooks, if you think about them, are really about the concept of like a project. A workbook contains all of the data. We store that data in tables. Enables you to build the app screens, both for web and for mobile, and those are the apps. And it also contains the automations. And so they're all contained inside of the workbook. And you can have an unlimited number of workbooks in a Honeycode team and an unlimited number of apps. And so we think this is one of the great opportunities in that you can sign up for Honeycode and build as many workbooks and apps that you need to improve your team's productivity. why don't I show you how a workbook is built and how apps are built and shared, and show you some of the new features. Let's jump right in. I got an example here. I've got my team called Beekeeper, and what I want to show you is a very simple team task tracking app that we can build together. I've built some of it in the spirit of saving time, but let's hop right in. So I can select the workbook that I've built, and I've already gone ahead and added some data. So we've got a couple of tables that are already built out. We've got a tasks table, which is named tasks here at the top, and it has 3 columns. We've got a list of tasks, we've got a column articulating status, and we've got a column that articulates who the owner of that task is. And this uses a couple of new features inside of Honeycode. The status is actually using something what we call a pick list, and this is where we connect 2 tables together. As you can see here, if I select one of these, I'm picking from a selection of options. And this is as simple as creating a second table called status and changing these options. If you want, you could have a 4th status, for instance, in our use case here. And I can change that to be purple. I'm going to delete that extra row, and we can come back here in tasks, and you'll see automatically that now I have that 4th option available. The 3rd column here, the owner, is something where we have the ability to pull out the contacts that exist inside of the team and use them programmatically in our applications. And that's as simple as setting the format on the column and choosing contact. Okay, now we've got our data model built out. Let me show you how the app is built. I come across to the app builder, and I've already created an app called Beekeeper. I named the app Beekeeper here, and this is what's shown to everybody else who uses the app. And inside of my app today, I have 3 screens already pre-built. The first screen is a team tasks page, which shows a list of all the tasks that are associated to my team. And this is simply built with a couple of content boxes and a list. And the list is bound specifically to the task table, and I can see that over here in the source. The second screen I have is a list, very similar layout, exactly the same, except this time the list is connected to just show the red items, the items with a red status in the tasks table, and that's done with this filter expression in the source. The third screen is, again, very, very similar, but in this particular case, we have the list is actually configured to be personalized based on the owner column. Let me show you what this looks like from an app end user standpoint. I can click the View App button, and already my app is live. And here are the few screens that I talked about. The first one shows a list of the 5 tasks. I've made a couple of these items editable. So here I can change the status of some of these items. I also have a view that just shows the red items. So if I remove one of these items, for instance, if I set it to yellow, we instantly lose a row because this is only filtering the red items. I then have a My Tasks screen that uses the personalization feature of Honeycode to compare the logged in user of Honeycode with the row of data in question. And so I only see the rows that have my name, Gavin G, here, because that's who I've logged into this web app to. Okay, let me show you the third area of Honeycode. I come back to the builder, and now let me walk you through automations. So in this particular case, I've already built one automation. Let me show you what it looks like. And automations in Honeycode are really take 2 core concepts. There's some sort of trigger condition, and there's then some sort of action. This particular automation executes a notification anytime the status has changed. Let me walk you through some of the details. So automations have 4 core trigger types. It can be based on date or time reached, row added or deleted, a column change, or a cell change. In this case, I've chosen column change. I'm looking in the tasks table, and specifically I'm looking at the status column. Whenever that status changes, I've asked Honeycode to send an email. In this particular case, it sends an email to myself, Gavin, and then I can pre-fill in the information of what's in that email, including information about the task in this particular case that's been changed. I have other options that I can also do based on an automation, and some of those are here. I can do things like add a row, delete a row, overwrite a row, update or insert a row, or new is we have the ability now to connect automations to webhooks. So as you can see, every time I now change a status in one of these rows, if I go back to the Team Tasks page here, you'll notice that I will also now fire an automation. So let's change this item, Project Dragon, to red status. Now, in parallel, I'm getting an email, but also Honeycode, because we are both a mobile app, we support mobile apps, and we also have notifications in product here. You'll notice down here that in notifications, I just got a new status notification which said the status for task Project Dragon has changed to red, and the status is red, just like I do in my email. Okay, now let me show you some of the new capabilities that we've added to Honeycode that we can now use to build on top of this app. Let's come back to the builder. And I'm going to go to the app builder. The first thing I'm going to show you is what we call conditional formatting. So in my particular team task screen here of all of the tasks, what I'd like to do is highlight in particular color any of the tasks that are red. And we can do this based on logic now in the app. And so if I click on the content box in question, so I want to pick the status content, so anytime the status is red, I can now come over to this new section called conditional styling. Let me add that. So the first thing I do is I add a condition. In this particular case, I want to say whenever the status equals red, and then I want to style it as perhaps red text in a red box. Okay, let's see what that looks like. And here you go. And here we have now this list object that is showing that any of the red items are now marked in red. If I change it to yellow, the status changes. Now let me show you some of the other changes we've made in App Builder. Let's go back to the Builder experience here. And I just want to show you a very little thing we've done to improve the look and feel of apps. And so for instance here, if I pick this content box up here, you'll notice that we've added some corner styles now to the service. So I can change these to be more circular and create different look and feel, and even border styles for those items. So for instance, if I select all, I could pick another color like blue, and you can see how those are then applied in the App Builder experience. Now let me show you how we've made it easier to build things like forms in Honeycode. Let's go back to the builder. I want to add the ability very simply to add new tasks to anybody who has access to this app. And it's as simple as going to Add Objects, choosing Form. I can have a couple of choices. I could do a button and a new form screen, or I could do a form in the current screen. I'm going to pick the button and form screen. I'm going to choose all of the columns, and I'm going to click Create. Now let me show you what that looks like in the app. I now have an Add Tasks row. I can click Add, and I can add, say, Project of Bananas. I can choose an option. It's currently red, and I'll make Rajesh the owner. Now I click Done, and you'll notice that row is now been added to the form. Customers have also asked us to make it easier to do things like filtering and sorting inside of lists. And so if I come over to the segment and the list, I have a few more options now in the display. Before we always had search, which was easy one-click search enablement. Now we also have the ability to turn on filtering and sorting, and I can add multiple items to these options. What does this look like in the runtime? If I come across, we now have this new button that lets me perhaps filter by a particular item or sort. Now let me show you some of the new features in automations. Let me come across to automations and look at this status notify automation again. One thing our customers have asked us for is the ability to troubleshoot the successful failure of any automation. And we've added a new capability called Run History. If I open up Run History, it gives me the ability to query all of the past instances of an automation. And here you can see each instance and what the status of it is. And in all of these cases, we've had success and no errors. A big ask our customers have been making is to enable the two-way integration of data in and out of Honeycode. Now I'm going to show you very quickly how to do this with Zapier. So my use case here is we have a Slack channel inside of my company, and we often go back and forth with the team on, hey, are these new projects, new things that we need to get done? Often what transpires out of those conversations is that there's a decision that's something that needs to be added to our task list. So let's set that up so I can automatically push tasks from Slack via Zapier into our Honeycode task app. Okay, so I log into Zapier and I come across to create this app. I choose some sort of event. In this case, I'm going to choose Slack as the source. I'm going to choose a trigger, and in this case, I'm going to say a new pushed message, so not every message from the Slack channel comes across. I click continue. I choose an account. Continue. I can test. It's working just fine. I continue. And now I choose a destination. And so I choose Amazon Honeycode. And in this case, I want to add a row to a table. Click continue. I choose a Honeycode account. Continue. I choose a workbook. My workbook is Beekeeper. There it is, Beekeeper tasks. I choose a table. I choose the tasks table. Once I've selected the table tasks, it automatically pulls out the columns from Honeycode, which were task, status, and owner. Then I can choose what data to put in those columns. So in the task, I'm actually going to grab the message text. And for status and owner, I'm going to leave blank. Now, if I go back to Slack, I can actually, against a message, now post that to Honeycode. I can come across, click push to Zapier, choose a trigger, and away we go. Now I go to Honeycode, and I can see that row has now automatically been added to the table. And if I go to the app, you can see here that the row has been added to my app as well. And I can still choose and change some of these options, maybe pick a person. So there I've shown you two-way integration between Slack going via Zapier into Honeycode. Honeycode also supports the capability to push out events via a webhook to Zapier. Honeycode also doesn't just support Zapier. We also support AWS AppFlow. So what have I shown you today? I've shown you how to build an app, soup to nuts, from workbooks to apps to automations. I've shown you some of the new features inside of App Builder. I've shown you some of the new capabilities of two-way integration, connecting Honeycode via Zapier to Slack. We look forward to seeing what you can build with Honeycode. Happy building. Back to you, Mira.
Thanks, Gavin. We invite all of you to sign up for Honeycode and try it today. Honeycode is free to sign up for. We want to see you active in our community. And thank you for joining us for this presentation. Have fun building. Thank you.